Hey y'all, the roses are falling as I welcome myself back to my own YouTube channel, and today we are coming out with episode 2 of Storytimes with Pride. I'm sorry that this series is very insequential, very out of order, but this is how I'm going to drop these episodes in this order right here, this list right here. And yeah, I hope y'all are excited for it. The video from yesterday was about Black queer heroes and their story, and this one is my story about how I came out, about how I am who I am today, and I hope y'all enjoy. And we're gonna get to it in 3, 2, 1.
I was in the third grade, I thought that I was gay, cause I could draw, my uncle was, and I kept my room straight. I told my mom, tears rushing down my face, she's like, Ben, you've loved girls since before pre-K.
Who knew shooting hoops on the court would lead me to discovering more about myself, something deeper about myself? If that sounds dramatic, stay tuned, because this is a tip of the Jaylon Redrose iceberg and a little sip of my tea that you didn't see coming. Growing up, I didn't even know LGBTQ people existed, like at all. It was something that no one talked about in my family or around me. I just assumed everyone was straight because that's what I saw, heard, and was expected. And the thing outside of that, not even a thought. I remember my grandma once showing me a picture of my cousin with his nails painted on Facebook, and she wrinkled her nose and was like, "Just don't be like that." I nodded. I nodded, really not understanding what she was talking about, but I just found it in other things that I wasn't supposed to be. So I kind of grew up traditional, which is funny because I'm definitely not traditional now, but I kind of grew up traditional. Not necessarily by choice, more like by default. My life was mapped out, grew up, stay normal, and be masculine, and be straight. End of story. Or so I thought. Then one day, randomly in elementary school, fourth or fifth grade, whatever you have to name it, we were on the basketball court because, in case y'all didn't know, I love basketball. I love watching basketball mostly, but I also like playing it time to time. And I felt like the court was my safe space. This is starting to be where the court was my safe space, even though I was often neglected on the court, which I will talk about later in my playing sports while being queer video. But it was my safe space, and I had happened to foul this dude really hard. By the way, for context, it was four of us. So it was me, this dark skinned dude, light skinned dude, and white boy. So I had fouled the dark skinned dude pretty hard, and his light skinned friend, which everyone thought was cute at the time, including me. But mind you, I didn't even know that's why. That's why I kind of respected him a little bit. I didn't know that was why, but whatever. He had looked at me, looked at his friend on the ground, and said, "Why you found like that with your gas? Why you found like that with your gas? Why you found like that with your gas? Why are you found with your gay ass?" The words hit harder than the foul itself. I didn't even know what gay really meant at the time. But the way he said it, like it's some insult, that stuck with me. Like it was something bad. Later that night, curiosity took over. I went to YouTube and started looking Gay, gay. And what I found, I liked it just as much as the straight stuff. Maybe more. It was like something unlocked in my brain, a piece of myself I didn't even know existed. Suddenly made sense. I realized I looked at guys and girls the same way this whole time. This whole time. But I didn't know what to call it. There's no label in my head, just a storm of confusion and self-discovery I wasn't ready to name, and I wasn't ready to take on because, mind you, I was in fourth or fifth grade when this all happened. I should be playing with Nintendo, and going outside and stuff. But here I am looking up gay stuff on YouTube. Wow, that's a way that a kid should be spending their childhood. And then at the same time, I started feeling super insecure about my masculine, because mind you, people started to come for me. They were like, Jaylon, you act feminine, Jaylon, you gay, Jaylon, you this, you Jaylon, you that. All because that guy, he was popular in the school, so he had influence. And whenever he said something, everyone agreed, because he was that fine ish, even though we were in 5th grade, he was a cute, popular kid. So everyone just followed suit. And that made me extra insecure. And then I just started to really hate who I was. And it felt like everyone was watching me and judging me, and I just couldn't face that scrutiny. I just didn't want to face that scrutiny much longer. I had nowhere to go. School, at home, I didn't have anywhere to go. And by the way, at home, the one time that I can remember clearly was my sister had a bunch of Starbursts, right? And I begged my dad to make her give me one. And she finally did. And she was like, which one do you want? And I said, the pink one. And before I know it, her and my dad looked at each other and busted out laughing. Busted out laughing. Like, me picking that pink Starburst proved something about myself. And I'm like, it's really just candy. But to him, that meant something greater. And the fact that he still to this day, tells this story like it's some trophy story, like it's some how I met my wife type of story at the wedding. That's what he treats this story as. And it's crazy work, considering that it's one of my more traumatizing moments. Because imagine your dad and your sister laughing in your face like that. Just imagine how I was feeling, y'all. And by the time I hit middle school, because this all happened in the span of 2 years. By the time I hit middle school, people were always asking, are you gay? Why you talk like that? You sus, bro? Mind you, sus did start like when we was in middle school, y'all. It wasn't high school, it was middle school. That's how old we are. It felt like everyone had already made up their minds about me before I even had the chance to understand myself. The bullying was nonstop. The harassment was nonstop. People kept coming for me, kept asking me what I was, kept coming for me, kept making fun of my voice, kept making fun of my hands, kept making fun of this, kept making fun of that. People kept coming for me. I hit backpacks because people kept making fun of me. Like, it's not something I'm proud of, but whatever. I hate backpacks. Oh, so well. Because people kept making fun of me. And it felt like everything I was doing was being watched under a microscope, just like in elementary school. Even though I went to a completely different middle school from my elementary school. I went to a completely different middle school, so I thought I had a fresh start. But no, that was not the case. And here in this new place, no matter what I did, what I wore, how I spoke, who I hung out with, it was never man enough. And then one day, it's always one day, y'all, at basketball practice. You hear basketball practice. Think about what I said earlier. I just said it. How did I say it? We were playing music and a female song kind of came on, and I knew the lyrics bar for bar. And one of the girls was like, "Oh, of course you know that song with your gay." And I was like, "Well, I'm bi." And that's how I just said it. I came out. No dramatic pause, no rainbow flags, no speech. It just slipped out in the middle of a conversation. I don't even remember. I do remember what led up to it. It was that music song. I don't even remember the song. I just remember this brief silence afterwards. And I had braced myself for something worse. But then something strange happened. The girls around me, they congratulated me? they was happy for me. They didn't scrutinize me. They kind of was like, we kind of knew that, but they didn't do it in that snarky manner. And after that, the bullying stopped. At least about my sexuality. The bullying stopped. Going into freshman year, because this was summer of 8th grade, going into freshman year, and that being COVID still, because this was COVID era still, I had that whole year virtual. And my way of telling the whole school, the whole world, at least in my class that I was by, was uploading this profile picture that had the bi flag with the BLM fist on it, because BLM was really ramping up at this time. And I thought that was something. And in the end, I didn't know whether the bullying stopped was out of respect or shock or just the end of the mystery. But people backed off. It was like the moment I owned who I was, they lost power over me. They weren't interested in me anymore. And just like that, I could finally breathe. I could hoop and just be me. Well, that's a lie. But in general, outside of hooping, I could just be me. No more hiding, no more guessing games, just truth. It's wild to think that it started on the basketball court and ended on the basketball court. The basketball court, a place where I used to prove my toughness, became the same exact place I proved my truth. And that's what's tea. And I really hope y'all enjoyed my coming out story. I'm sorry there isn't a lot more details to it. I tried to make it as interesting as possible, not as boring as possible. But I am excited to finally record this and talk about it, because y'all need to hear it, and maybe someone else has an experience similar to it, like basically being bullied into coming out. That's kind of like my story. I hate to say it, but that's kind of what happened. But I hope that y'all learn something from this. That's always what I want from y'all, to learn from my experiences, to learn from my perspectives, to learn a little something, learn a different view. And yeah, the next video y'all see right here, the title, that next video is coming up tomorrow. And yeah, I'm so excited for this Storytimes of Pride series. I hope y'all are too, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.